I think I moved in like February and the trailer wrecked in March.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, I wanted to open a place that was like me. Not that he breakdances, he's 4. My friends are people I meet at the cafe. And it's got to be a good atmosphere, good food, and then good customer service. Salt Lake feels big, but it is small.
Oh, yeah.
Like it is small. That's why it's called Small Lake City, but almost cut his pinky off while we were doing it. I got in a motorcycle accident and had like a month of amnesia and like it was just like this like crazy journey. Like you're a horrible person. Like there's a special place in hell for you. And I was like, work always feels like work. Owning your own business is so hard.
Yeah.
And I'm so tired. I'm always tired.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Small Lake City Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Nilsson, and today's episode, we sit down with the one and the only Brent Lee Williams. So if you know Brent, you know he is the owner of Old Cuss Coffee Shop, which has had a really interesting story of starting off of him being from Kansas City, Missouri, and moving here because of a relationship, starting a coffee truck on his own during the pandemic, having that truck crash, building his own brick and mortar store, and now moving soon to his own bigger space downtown. Now, there's been new faces that have joined along the way, a lot of adversity, but it's a great story about resilience, chasing your dream, working really hard, and making things come to work, but also loving your community, building around them, and building a business that people do want to come and show up for. And personally, I think it's one of the best flavored lattes in the city. Such great syrups that he makes himself, great menu. Good food as well. So if you need a new coffee place to try out, especially if you want a fun latte, go check that out. But yeah, check out our interview together, and I think it's one you're going to enjoy. So yeah.
Cool, man. I've been recording in a couple of weeks. It feels nice. It's like, I mean, as you can imagine, being like a small business owner, it's like, all right, this, like, I need to focus on this. And then you'll focus on that. And you'll be like, oh shit, now I have to do this. So like, because I have an event coming up in, with the marvelous women of HK Brewing. We're going to do like a Friendsgiving on November 14th with Joseph of like, thank you for the short notice. Yeah. And Sam from Sam's Secret Pizza and Levain Bakery. We're going to do like leftover turkey sandwiches, like Thanksgiving ones. We're going to have like this hat bar that this woman does is pretty cool. So it'll be fun. So I'm like, that's been like my focus. And then I try to have 3 to 4 episodes in the backlog at any given time, so I don't have to worry. And I was like, oh no, we got 2 left. I need to record or else I'm not saying bad things will happen or I can't pull something out, but.
Have you had Kate and Hannah on yet?
We're recording next week. Oh, yeah. So that was part of it. It was kind of like this weird back and forth where at the time I wanted to do kind of like back to school fundraiser and just essentially have a bunch of places around the city where people could drop off, I mean, clothes, school supplies, backpacks, whatever. And so I was like, hey, could we do something there? And they misunderstood it as, oh, you want like throw an event here. Like, how about we come on the podcast and you can do it. I was like, not what I meant, but let's talk. Yeah. And then yada, yada, yada. Here we are.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. But
they're great. They're really great.
Yeah. It's fun to get to know, cause like, I mean, I guess like the whole premise of the podcast is getting to know people that are doing cool stuff. Cause you see the places and then it's fun to be able to be in a position where I'm like, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation. And then you get to know everybody better. And it makes me, I just like appreciate everything more.
Have you been into the shop yet?
The Old Cuss?
Yeah.
I went through once and I need to go back because, I mean, as you know, I mean, like when the coffee truck was there, I went all the time. And like, I love Old Cuss because like, I mean, you create all of the syrups, you create all the flavors, you create everything where it's not, I mean, let's go get generic vanilla syrup from wherever it could be. And so I went through once and it was like one of those, I'm in a rush but like Old Cuss is one of those places you're like, I kind of want a minute to like poke around, look around and sit around. So I definitely
you need to come back.
Overdue for a visit.
We're bringing the A trailer back in the summer. So,
okay.
Yeah. So we're opening the location, then we're bringing back a coffee trailer too. So lots of fun stuff. Lots to talk about.
Oh, lots of good things to talk about, but it's fun to see because I remember when I first put together the list of people I wanted to have, I think you were on it because I mean, again, like seeing the experience when I lived at Hardware and then you lived at Hardware too, during COVID where it's like, okay, like I see people, I don't see people. And there was at least like this every Friday, here's a coffee truck, good coffee, go say hi and come back around. And
yeah, so, we kind of built like, it was fun because we kind of built like a Hardware community and then, you know, the wreck happened and it kind of like through everything, but
Yeah.
like it was like, yeah, like people in hardware were like starting to get to know each other. And then like then like pretty much like by the time I moved in, the trailer had wrecked.
You're like, cool.
Like
this
I
is
like
not what I
moved
wanted to
in.
happen.
I think I moved in like February, and the trailer wrecked in March.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang.
You're like, this timing could have been better.
Yeah, I was like, this was going to be great. And then I lost all my income and became a server.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't afford this place and be a server.
No, yeah, those two don't add up. But
Yeah.
good times there, bad times there.
Yeah,
I
that's just how life is.
Exactly. But Brent, I'm excited because I know that there's like a great story behind it. And again, like it's a product that I enjoy. Well acquainted with over the years. But kind of want to start from the beginning because, and then I actually don't know the answer to this question. Like, are you originally from Salt Lake, or how did you end up here?
Shoot, what was I saying? I'm from Kansas City.
Okay.
My God. I just had to think of the fake city to say I was from.
There you go.
No, I'm from Kansas City, and I moved out here with an ex in the first day of 2018. So I've been here around, I guess, coming up on 7 years.
Crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, just moved out here, and at the time I was like really involved with like religious stuff and things like that, and was like
So it's a place of those
pastor
things.
person and stuff, but
Nice.
not anymore. Now I just kind of focus on my own business.
Life changes quick,
Yeah.
and you have to keep up with it. But so girl was from here, and you chased her here.
Yeah,
or
her brother was a part of a church.
Okay.
And asked us to come be a part of the church, and like we did that. And during the pandemic, I decided not to be a part of church stuff anymore. So that
There's a
kinda,
lot of
worked.
those people.
Yeah, it kind of worked out. But yeah, I moved out here to be like with them, and like her brother was like, yeah, like we want family to move out here, and so yeah, we moved out, and she's still here. I don't see her. She's a police officer in this neighborhood.
Oh, mind my P's and Q's.
Yeah,
If
no.
I ever get arrested by a girl officer, I'll be like, so do you know my friend Brent?
Yeah. She's. I mean, I don't know anything about her work. Like, she's a detective, so like, don't get murdered.
Okay. I will do my personal best.
But yeah, for her detective sake, I won't say her name. So there you go.
There we go.
But yeah, like, so she's still here. She's doing good. Nice person.
And so you move here, 4-girl, doesn't work out, fall out of religion. Was any part of this plan to own a coffee shop at any point or be a coffee dealer?
I mean, I've been in coffee or like restaurant industry, I guess coming up now on 20 years. So like I started working in restaurants when I was like 13.
Okay.
So 21 years ago. And yeah, I just was like, and my mom's like, she's like a chef and a gardener and like a florist, and like my parents were always like entrepreneurs, and like for better or for worse, like they always had their own business, and just kind of grew up in a like entrepreneurial household, and like all of us were untreated, ADHD, like
I know,
dyslexic, bipolar, like all the fun stuff.
The old mental health cocktail.
All the mental health cocktail for like me and my siblings and even my parents, and like none of us did treatment. So like our whole household was just this like, chaotic like mess of like people going, I'm going to open this business. I'm going to open this business. I'm going to go to this school and do this thing. And everybody like wound up doing like, one of my brothers works in the cannabis industry. One of my brothers trained conductor and an engineer for trains.
Yeah.
Like then another one of my brothers builds escape rooms. My sister's a banker. Like we're all just
all over the place.
yeah, we're all just kind of all over the place. And like, and then I just like I've always worked in restaurants, and like I'm not being neurodivergent. Like I'm a terrible employee. Like I'm not. Like I will work really hard, but if like I was a really good employee, unless like my grandfather used to say that he didn't tolerate stupidity, and unfortunately, like if I would have like a boss or like a manager over me, that I'd be like, this is stupid. I would just go, yeah, this is stupid. I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
I'd be like, I'm gonna do it my way, and it didn't make people happy. And at one point in time, I was like working for like running a restaurant in Draper, and I was like, I can't keep working for people. I'm like, I can't do it. So I quit that restaurant, went and worked for a coffee shop, started making plans. Then the pandemic happened, and I go, okay, I'm not going to do a brick and mortar. like we toured the space that we're moving into, like we toured the space that Loki's in, like pre-pandemic, and then pandemic hit, and I go, all right, well, we got to like pivot. I can't open a brick and mortar right now when we don't know when people can come inside. So I was like, we'll do a trailer. But it was just kind of one of those things. Like I got tired of working for people. I got tired of working 70-hour weeks at salary and being like, I don't even own this place. I make like $40,000 a year, but I work 70 hours. And I was like, yeah, this is not the best move for my mental health or anything like that. Now I work 70-hour weeks and I make, $25,000. But, at least I own the place. And at least I can go like, I don't make very much money as a business owner. Most business owners don't, but at least like I own it.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not the people I answer to are my like business partner.
Yeah.
And then I just make sure that, I answer to my employees in the aspect of like, if they're like, hey, like you were a dick this time. And I was like, I was.
Right. That was a
you
dick.
were right. I apologize. And like, I can answer them because like I think that's something like I learned a lot is like just through management and through things like that. I was like, like not every owner is going to like be able to like constantly like be on. So you've got to be willing to like know that like if your employees are pissed at you, just hear them out and then like, yeah. Because I can piss people off. I'm a really, really intense character.
And it's good to be an intense person. It's good to be a passionate person, but it's also important to know when you make a mistake. When someone's like, hey, like you screwed up. You're like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I will learn from this. I will try to do better. Because we've all had those bosses where it's like they are on this, like pedestal. They can't make mistakes. Everyone is below them. And like, those are the people you're like, this sucks. I don't want to work here. I'd rather work the same and go do my own thing and have that risk than put up with this anymore. Mm-hmm. But it's also nice too, because like, I always have had and currently still have like a salary job where it's like, okay, like I can do something, I cannot do something. And it's like hard to see your own effort truly go into making something better or the growth of. But then once you do start your own thing, you're like, oh, like I put an effort here, this grows here. If I do this, this works, this doesn't work, and truly like see it grow. Mm-hmm. And it's so much more rewarding. And again, like to your point, like I can work 70 hours at a salary job and have it be the same no matter what I do, but not really going towards anything else. And then you start to build your own thing. You're like, okay, like this makes a lot more sense now. Is it hard? Yeah. Is there a lot of long days and early mornings and pain? Yeah, but it's still like my little thing that I get to have.
Yeah. And I don't know if like owning your own business, I don't think, I know it's not for everybody. And that's why like it's like insane statistic that I heard like last week is like 3% of the world owns their own business. That's it. That's 3%. Wild. Like, and it's because like, I was just saying, like, it's like a lot of work, very low pay. And like, you can get like, I hope someday that I will make good money, but it's going to take a lot longer than if I went and worked for a tech company or went and worked for somebody else that's established. Like if I went across the street and managed for Buca de Beppo, I would double my salary right now. Mm-hmm. And I think like, that's okay. Like, it's okay that not everybody like can do it. And like, it's also okay if you do it. And like, something I've been learning is like, sometimes like there could be a day in my life where I'm just like, I just want to close the shop. I'm done. I'm tired. And it's okay. Yeah. And then I'm open up something different. Like there's plenty of like really big chefs, really big restaurateurs that have had a huge restaurant and then go, okay, I'm done. I'm going to go cook at a 1-seat diner because I'm just tired. And like, that's something like, I'm like trying to like give myself permission. Like, not that I'm closing Old Cuss anytime soon or gonna sell out of it or quit, but I'm just like, hey, like this isn't forever. And you might like see Old Cuss succeed in someone else's hands. Mm-hmm. And like, that's something like, I'm just like, okay, like it could happen. And not that we're doing okay. I think we will succeed. And I think someday I will make money. But right now it's like, it's more about like interactions. It's about the fact that like myself and my business partner, Chandler, like we can kind of like do what we want. And like, more importantly, I think do what our customers want. Like I was just talking today, like somebody's like, so like, why do you do like the flavored lattes? I'm like, because people want flavored lattes. Like like people want that, and like they come in for that, and it was like I want to do what people want. Like I'm like when we moved downtown, like it's such a silly thing, like that I think about, like a lot of people don't, but I'm like, cool, we're gonna add 20-ounce lattes when we move downtown. And people, like somebody was like, well, why would you add 20 ounce? Like, isn't 16 enough? I go, no, people want 20 ounces.
I'm a 20-ounce latte
Like
guy.
people want 20 ounces. They want 4 shots. Like they like, and like people want, like I was telling my business partner today, I'm like, cool, I'm gonna add like 2 like shakes on the menu, and we're gonna get an old shake machine. And like somebody was like, well, why are you gonna do that? I'm like, because people want blended coffee. And it's like, I can do it craft, I can do it specialty, but like somebody's like, oh, that's second wave. And I'm like, no, like, because there's second wave, third wave, first wave coffee, things like that. Like first wave's Folgers, second wave is Beans and Brew Starbucks, third wave is going to be like your Blue Copper, your like La Barba Public, that's going to be like third wave. And like somebody's like, well, like blended drinks is so second wave. I just go, no, it's just what people want.
Yeah, nothing has like we don't have to have everything be third wave or like change.
Yeah, I don't like, I want to do everything specialized. I want to grow as much produce as we can, make everything from scratch. But most importantly, I want to just like serve what people want. They want 20 ounces, and they're like, oh, it's 20 ounces. They want a blended drink. Yeah, a blended drink. Like somebody comes in and they just go, like I want to hear people out. Like, you know, and like we already have this thing of like people don't love that we're vegetarian, but we do good vegetarian, like great vegetarian food and great vegan food. And I was like, so like that's one place where like people are like, well, we want meat. And I'm like, well, you're not going to get meat here, but you can have local dairy, you can have local cheese, and then I'll give you blended drinks, and I'll give you 20 ounce.
Yeah, like, all right,
I'll give you specialty coffee that's in 20-ounce vessels.
That's the compromise
like,
we need.
That's a compromise. And it's like, I'm not going to throw like our mushroom bacon's like the best stuff on the planet. It's better than bacon. I'm an omnivore. It's better than bacon. And I'm just like, we're going to do mushroom bacon and 20-ounce drinks. I don't know why I'm like using that as my example, but that's like, I think that's why I'm in business, because I want to do what I want. And I like, there's so many things as a consumer that I'll like go in and I'll just be like, well, this place feels like a hospital. And like, there's a lot of like restaurants and coffee shops that like you go in and you go, this feels like a Swedish hospital.
Yeah.
This feels like an IKEA hospital, or like a Apple store with a kitchen in it.
Yeah.
And like, I just go in and I was like, as a consumer, like, that's not me. Now I know some people that as consumers, like, yeah, that's me. And I'm like, all right, that's great. It's for you. But for me, I'm like, I wanted to open a place that was like me. And I was like,
and not everyone can like no one will like everything. Like there is not a single thing that everyone supports and does. And because like for me, like going back to the 20-ounce lattes and blended drinks, like so I always have like my daily coffee or like daily black drip, but when I want a treat, it's always a vanilla latte. And if they have like, but I'll always look at their flavors and be like, do we have a fun latte? Which is why I loved Old Cuss, because there are fun flavors, and it was always like a nice treat. And I will always get a 20-ounce one. But then in the summer, if I'm getting done golfing or going golfing, you give me a blended frap and I am the happiest boy in the world.
And we're gonna like, we're doing like, I just said, I don't care, like, because it's always like something people are like, oh, the blender's too loud. And I'm like, well, like, I don't want a quiet atmosphere. Yeah. Like, that's like another thing is like, I don't want a quiet atmosphere. Like, I play a lot of jazz in the shop, but I turn it up. Yeah. And I do Art Blakey, and Art Blakey is like a insanely loud jazz drummer. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And then like my business partner, he listens to like, we listen to jazz, punk, emo, and sometimes I'll sneak in a little bit of country, but it's mostly jazz and punk is what we listen to. And I listen to a lot of emo. Yeah. And the reason we do that is not because like it's just what we like, but because like I don't want a quiet coffee shop. I want people to come in, and I want them to come in with their 6-year-old kid, and I want their like 6-year-old kid to come in and like scream to high heaven, and the person doesn't go, oh, I got to get my kid out of here. Yeah. Cause like my partner, like, she has 2 kids, and like we always are thinking about like, well, where can we go? Where can we go and take the kids? And it's like one of those things where I'm just like, there's a lot of places that are great that we can't take the kids because we're just like, everyone's going to just like stare at us. Yeah. So we have like set places, like we go to like Slackwater because it's so loud, and I was like, this is great. Yeah, like
drown out all the kid noises.
Like Rye can literally like throw his drink on the ground and break dance in the drink, and no one's going to look because it's loud. Not that he break dances, he's 4 yet. but I think that's like what with Old Cuss, like we do these things because we're like we see, like we just like, we want a place where it's like like today, like Chandler's my business partner and he's a chef. And Chandler was like, I want Old Cuss to be a place where like people can come in and be on their laptops. But he goes, I want like 9 out of 10 of the tables to be people just like chatting with their mom or like, like he's like, I want it to be like a place of community and like hanging out. And that's what we like, that's why we do it. And like one of my customers, I did a 3,000-mile road trip with our first customer. Like he came to the trailer the first day we were ever open before we opened at Hardware. And now him and I are like him and his wife and kids, like I've watched his kids now have 4 children.
Wow.
And like I did a road trip to Missouri with him and spent like 5 days straight, and me and him just like chatting it up. Like on my birthday, I went to dinner with him and his wife. Like he was a customer, you know, and like that's what we want in Old Cuss. That's like what we like I work so much that, and then like that I don't have friends. So my friends are people I meet at the cafe. Like Chandler plays D&D with 2 people who we met as customers.
And that's the right way to do it. Because if you're friends with people, then they come to see you, and then they want to bring people. And if it's the right atmosphere, then they want to be there. Because again, like there's so many coffee places I walk into, and like they could have the best coffee in the world, but I'm not going to hang out there. I'm not going to want to be there. I'm not going to be with people. And like on the music side of things, like totally agree. Like 2 of my favorite places in Salt Lake, I mean, like Central Ninth Market, where they're always blaring. I mean, it's usually like hip hop or rap, which I mean, I'm a fan of. And so I'm always just like head bobbing while I'm waiting for my breakfast sandwich, or like Ramen Ichizu. He'll always have and both of them have at separate times been like, hey, if you don't like our music, like don't come. And I'm like, too shy, because
I would never say that. I love both of them. I would never say don't come. I say, if you don't like the music, just get your stuff to go and go. Yeah. Like come see us.
Yeah, we can
come see us. We'll smile. We'll give you a high five. But you don't have to like, and that's the thing. Like we still like, like we definitely like think about like, okay, like sometimes it's like yesterday, for example, like Halloween. So I was like, cool, like I'm working, and like Chandler went to a doctor's appointment. So it's just me in the cafe. And it was like, I put on Coheed and Cambria, which is like a band that I love. Like they're like my favorite band, one of my favorite bands. And I never play them in the cafe because they're so dark. Like they write dark. They have like screaming and things like that. But I go, it's Halloween. I can do a little spooky.
Yes.
But like, sometimes I was like, okay, I don't get to play Coheed. And like Chandler, like really likes some like really like heavy, like metal. And like, he didn't play that, but like, we're like, all right, what's our compromise? Like, and so like he's in this band Webbed Wing, and he plays this band Webbed Wing, and like, they're like a punk band, and they're like, their music is like heavy, like fast punk beats. But then like, I was like, yeah, like it works. And it's like, and like C9, like when you go into C9, you're just like, you go in and there's going to be hip hop, like Brady's going to be back there slinging, and he's going to be like, yeah, like doing his Bob's Burger thing. Like Brady's going to be back there. Max is going to be back there. And like, when you walk into Central Ninth, like every time it's going to be like, what the fuck's up? Hey, how you doing? Like, and like every time I'm like, yeah, like what you're going to get. And like, they have so much character. They have great food. And that's, I think the thing, like you said, like I was literally just talking on the phone before I walked in here, like good coffee's not enough. Good food's not enough. Like you have to have, like I always say, you have to have 3 things to like have a business that's gonna last. And it's got to be a good atmosphere, good food, and then good customer service. And you can function with 2 of those 3, but you can't like 1 is not enough. Yeah. Good customer service is not enough. Good atmosphere is not enough. You need 2 of those 3 things. And if you can do all 3, good atmosphere, good customer service, and great product, like you're made. Yeah. But you got to have them all. And you've got to be always striving for them all. And like I do this thing, like, which is kind of pretentious, so I'm going to be careful on it. But I do this thing of where I go, because I toured like as a musician for a long time, and then Kansas City is about 4 times bigger than Salt Lake, and like that's where I like cut my teeth doing coffee and doing restaurants and everything like that. But like I always like ask myself when I go to a restaurant, I go, do I believe this restaurant could succeed in LA or New York or Portland? Like, is this a restaurant that could succeed in any big city, or is it just a restaurant that can function in a small place like Salt Lake? Mm-hmm. Salt Lake feels big, but it is small.
Oh yeah.
Like it is small. That's why it's called Small Lake City, but it's genuinely like, it's not even like a joke. Like Salt Lake's small, and like sometimes I'll like look and I was like when I look, I always tell people, and I just go, I'm not competing with any coffee shop or any restaurant in Salt Lake. They're not my competition. The only like Beans and Brews, Starbucks, like that is my competition because they are owned by like multimillionaires. They're not owned by local people. Mm-hmm. Those are the places that like I look at as competition, but like Blue Copper's not my competition. Like Patrick's my homie, and like I think he's great. Like my best friend came into town a couple weeks ago, and I took him to Blue Copper because I love Blue Copper. Like it's great. Like Caputo's isn't like Caputo's. Our new location is literally like back door to Caputo's, and for me, I'm like, nah, Caputo's is like the shit. Like Matt Caputo is like inspirational, and like he's like a business owner that I look at, and I just go like, this guy is like I look at him and I just go like, I want to be like that guy. Or like Manoli, who owns Manoli's, like I look at all these other like restaurants, and like Jess at Passion Flower, like I look at them and like I was like, yeah, you're my friends, like you're not my competition. But then when I like really look at it, I just start going like, my competition is like, you know, like Verve in LA, like, or like, you know, like Blue Bottle, or you know, I look at the best spot in Vegas and I go, that's who I'm competing with. Yep. I'm competing with markets. And then I look at businesses, and I think I'm very ADHD here, but I look at businesses and I go, could they succeed in any market? And it's like the businesses that I just named, like could succeed in any market. That means they're nailing these three things. And I just like, you put Caputo's in any city and it will not just succeed, but it will become a staple. Yeah. Because Caputo's has built something really special. You take like, I think Passion Flower like is like one of the best vegan bakeries in the US, and I've had a lot. And like Passion Flower makes incredible pastries, not just incredible vegan pastries. And like what Jess and Alex are doing at Passion Flower is like, I'm like, yeah, you can make it in any city. Yeah. Because you guys are great.
Something that'll work.
And like Central Ninth, like every city should have a Central Ninth. Like those guys are like building community. They're like that, like they did exactly what you should do, which is if you have an opportunity to move into a city or like a neighborhood and then name yourself after that neighborhood and do what they do, like you think Central Ninth, you go, you talking about the market or the neighborhood? Yes. Like, what are we talking about? And you go, I'm talking about both, because Central Ninth has like done it. And like Old Cuss, like that's what we want to do with Pierpont. Like the Rose establishments on our street where we're moving. And like, I go to the Rose 2-3 times a week. And like Chandler used to be the chef at the Rose, and like Erica is like a friend of mine. And like when I first went there, Erica was like a little bit like, I could tell like, she's like, yeah, like, I don't know how I feel about this. But then like, as I went in, she's like, oh, you're not competing with me. Like we're homies. Like we just want to build Pierpont. We just want to build like that block of Caputo's and like Taylor Cooperative and things like that. It's like, yeah, let's do that. And I'm a ranter.
No,
I apologize.
No, please. I'd rather have too much than too little. But no, I totally agree, because like that's one thing. And I think this is like the 60th episode, 60th or 61st. But like that's like the main takeaway. If someone's like, give me the 30 seconds on what you've learned. It's Salt Lake has a very special community, and it's been started from like the LDS population of building a community. And then that's still been a thing, and people have left and people moved in. That's what's the thing that I would say for everybody to take away, and like that we need to remind ourselves as it grows. Because again, like to your point, you're like, I'm competing with the people who don't give a shit about Salt Lake, that are just all it is a number on a spreadsheet that they want to make sure that it's green and not red. Mm-hmm. But then you have the people who also like who want to build a community, who want to have this, and whether if it's another coffee shop or not, everybody wins at the same time. Everybody wants to support each other. But I want to go back to, actually I want to stop, go back for a second and let's go to the music. Cause so walk me through, you said you toured for a while. How did that start? When did that happen?
Oh, I just music's definitely a big part of Old Cuss, like what we play. And then we have concerts that we do after hours. We have our Haifa Productions does concerts out of our shop, and it's like really fun. So like music's like a big part of my life. And with Old Cuss, it was like one of those things I'm like, okay, like I'm going to open a restaurant, so I'm going to lose my life. So I need to bring my two hobbies into Old Cuss. So concerts and then vintage, and those were my hobbies. And now that like neither of them feel like a hobby anymore, because they're like how we make our money.
Yeah.
We don't really make money on the music, but we have fun and like we just let hi-fi run shows. But yeah, music for me, like I started like playing, like I started like busking when I was like 12 and 13. Like I would go like busk and like play in like shopping centers. And then by the time I was like, once I got my license, I started driving to like downtown Kansas City, and I would busk like in this neighborhood called the Plaza, or I'd busk in Westport, and I would just like busking, just like playing on the side of the road with tip hat, you know, and I would just do that. And then like I kind of learned doing that. And then like all through like middle school and high school, when I played music, like Kansas City had a really vibrant like metal and hardcore scene. So I would like be that acoustic guy that would open up for all the girlfriends of the straight edge dudes. So like you would have all these like hardcore dudes waiting to watch the Chariot, which was like still is this huge like super heavy dope band. They would like be waiting to watch Chariot, and then I would open the show and I would essentially play for all their girlfriends and do like my little like, at the time, like it was like MySpace emo, and I was like doing like MySpace emo music, and like, yeah, I just like kind of started playing. And like, by the time I was like 17, like I was like, okay, well, I just graduated high school, and I was like, I'm not going to go to college. I'm going to be a barista, and then I'm going to go on tour. And that's what I did. Like every year I'd go on tour, and then I would just like work as a barista. And I started at Starbucks when I was like 16 or 17, I want to say. And I just stayed in coffee, and then like I just play music on the weekends and like go on tour every summer. And I just be like, hey, I'm going on vacation. I know it's not paid, but I'm going to go, I'm going to take off.
Let you know when I'm back.
Yeah.
If it's here, great. If not, great.
Yeah. And I would just go on like little like 3-week tours. I did a tour in a Toyota Camry. I did a tour in a like a little like Jeep Cherokee. I did a tour in a van, like kind of like moved around, and like it was just kind of like fun. And like I thought it was going to be my career. I thought it was what I was going to do. And then I was just like, man, like this is hard. And then I go, and restaurants is hard. I go, I don't know if either of these is a career. But then I was like, okay. So like, then I became like a personal trainer, and like got into, I got really
ADHD and all of
I got really into fitness. And like in my 20s, I was like really, really fit, and like really into like I did like Spartan races and Tough Mudders, and like I would do like half marathons, crap like that. And then I would like train, and then I worked for a grocery store chain. Then I like, just kind of like jump around. But yeah, very like, I'm still like that. Like I'm still like I just, I'm getting older, and like mid 30s. And I have like, my partner, girlfriend, whatever we want to call, like has 2 kids, and like, I love the kids a lot. And like, it's like something where I like, I was like, I need to get healthier again. So now I'm getting back into fitness and like trying to work out every day. But yeah, I'm still very ADHD. I'm still very like, I just like, I can't like make up my mind. And like, so that's why I do special drinks every month, because I need to make sure my menu is always changing. And I was like, how can I like build this into my brand? And I was like, I was inspired by another local business, because I was already doing the specialty drinks like when you came to the trailer. But I got really inspired because I was like, man, like I have so many drink ideas. And then I saw like Normal change their menu. Like I was like, oh, I'm going to do that, but I'm just going to do 2 drinks. I'm not going to change like 6 ice creams, because I'm not an ice cream genius, or like I have like 120 different flavors that I've like made up so far for coffee.
That's wild.
Which is great. And I've got like more, and like this month I'm doing a flavor I've never done before. So it's like cool. Like, and last month I did a flavor I'd never done before. And like I'm still thinking of new ones, but like I looked at like Normal and I was like, man, like it's insane how many flavors that they will do and how much like they'll change. And like, I'm like hooked. Like I will go to Normal once a month, and I'll just go like, yeah, I want one of each.
Yeah. I got to try them all.
And I'm like 4 ice cream cones in. I go, this is why I need fitness.
Yes. And then it all comes back.
This is why I
to
need
full
fitness.
circle. But I want to go back to kind of the trailer, the initial idea where, I mean, COVID's happening. You're thinking about brick and mortar. That doesn't work. And so you get the trailer, and I mean, was the whole idea, I mean, kind of the aesthetic and vibe that you had with flavored lattes, or, I mean, how did this get started off the ground, and how did it go from there?
Yeah. So like with the trailer, like, you know, we like pivoted and we were like, all right, we're going to do a trailer because nobody can go inside anywhere and we can't get any loans. And so like, we didn't even like, the trailer was like fully self-funded, like, because no bank would give us a loan during the pandemic. Like we opened in September 2020, and It's still like a mandate, and like nobody knew when it was going to end. So the bank, like no banks would give us a loan. So we like built it. My old business partner and I built that, and like we spent the whole summer building it, and like it was like a journey building it. During it, like we learned a lot. Like my business partner at the time, like almost cut his pinky off while we were doing it. I got in a motorcycle accident and had like a month of amnesia, and like like it was just like this like crazy journey. Like we opened September 1st and I got in a motorcycle accident on August 1st.
Of course.
So like the month before we opened, I'm like, I can come work, but I don't remember 2 weeks ago, and I don't remember yesterday.
What was your order again?
Oh, exactly. So I'm like, I don't know. And like, even since that motorcycle accident, like I have like a chronic spine injury and things like that.
Oof.
Like, but then like, I don't remember people's names anymore. And I was so good with names before the accident.
That's
like,
frustrating.
Like I'd remember names from like 15 years ago that I would like serve coffee to. And now I'm like, what's their name? What's their name? All the time. And like, and I was like, all right, well, you know what? Head trauma will do that. But yeah, like we opened the trailer, and like when we opened the trailer, it was like one of those things where I was like, I just want to like this is really hard, so I just want to do what I want, and like I want unique flavors. So like we started, like the first flavors we did were the blueberry pie latte, the black currant, and then I did a mint watermelon like limeade thing, and I like started with that, and I was like, we just have a trailer, so we need to do it simple. But then as like time went on, like I think we started doing like the special drinks of the month, like the second or third month of the trailer, I was like, I'm already bored. Like I was like a month in, I was like, dang, like this is boring. It's like, so I need new drinks. Like I need to change it. So I started doing that. And then we started doing like, at the time we didn't have food. So like we started doing like empanadas, and then we changed the empanadas every week. And then we started getting like these like breakfast burritos from Miguel at the time. And we did that. And then it was just like one of those things where I was just like, yeah, I just want to do it. And then like, the trailer would still be open today, even with our brick and mortar, but it got in a wreck, and like that kind of like changed things up. But like,
well, the wreck was wild. So I had experienced you, almost every week at Hardware, and then remember when it happened. I remember waking up because I think I was going skiing that day, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like the trailer crashed. Like that sucks.
It's intense.
But then I was driving, and I passed the 13th South exit on I-80, and I was like, and there it is.
Yeah.
And saw it all like happen well, I didn't see it happen, but I saw the aftermath of it, and which is, terrible. But when it crashed, what was your thought at that point? Is it like, all right, this is it? Or is it like, how are we going to rebuild from here?
It was interesting. Like I was driving the trailer, we hit black ice. My ex was driving my personal vehicle behind me. So like, I had the trailer, so my truck hit the wall. I bashed my face on the dash and ended up getting like 15 stitches in my lips and re-injured my spine, which was fun. And then my ex, my at the time, like she like got out to come check on me, and I'm like bleeding from the face. It's like this whole scene. She gets out, and then another car hits the black ice and slams into my personal vehicle. So then I've got two vehicles, my trailer totaled. Like both the vehicles I own, my trailer's totaled. Me and my like wife at the time are like standing there, and we're like, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, it was like her mom's birthday. It was the first day I was going to take off. Like, I had not taken a day off since opening the trailer. Yeah. And I was going to go drop the trailer off and let my employee and my business partner work the trailer. And I was going to go celebrate my ex-mother-in-law's birthday. So it was like the weirdest thing. And like, like the community was really like gracious, and like, like a customer started a GoFundMe, and it ended up like insurance screwed us and underpaid like by like $12,000. Like they like underpaid so much. So we were like that. But then like the community like ended up raising, I think like it was like $23,000.
Wow.
Which was really awesome. And that made it where I was able to like pay my employee a little bit like at that time. And then like I was able to like pay me for a couple of weeks until like I was able to get a job. Like I started waiting tables at Nomad, and when I got like the interview, like I literally still had stitches in my mouth and like couldn't talk, and I was like, I swear I can talk.
Like, I can do this.
I can do this. But it was like a journey, and like, but like I kind of like, we had like started touring spots to open up a brick and mortar before the trailer wrecked. And that was just like, it was like, cool, I'm doubling down. And like the first time I met with the landlords for the space that we're about to leave, I still had the stitches in my mouth from the thing, and we signed the lease. Trailer was on March 21st, and we signed our lease on like April 25th.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, it was just something I was like determined, like, you know, like a lot of people are like, well, like, why didn't you just stop and like take the insurance money and like move? Like, they're like, that was like so like rough. And I was like, I don't know. I sometimes I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just felt like I needed to like stay, and I needed to do it. And like, you know, since that, like so much is like, it's been since the wreck, it's been like over 4 years. And since opening like the brick and mortar, like we're coming up on the end of our 3-year lease, or 3 years and 6 months lease. So like we're coming up on the end of that, but it's like so much has happened and changed. And like, you know, when we opened back up, we opened as a vegan restaurant, and I was the chef. And then a year and a half into being open, like we were like just like struggling. And I was like, man, like I don't know how we can keep doing this. So I was like, I wasn't vegan. I just wanted to like try it. Mm-hmm. So then we added like dairy and like local dairy, local eggs, local cheese. And weirdly enough, like some of like, we got a huge, like I got like hundreds of messages that were really, really negative from the vegan community, like sending me like gruesome videos and things like that, and saying how horrible I was. And then we had some like of our like other vegan customers that like came in and like hugged us and like, hey, we just want you to be here, like we love you. And then we had like, you know, we lost some customers for a minute, but then we picked up by like 25%.
Yeah.
And like it was just like, it's been like a journey. And like, again, like we're like never not going to be a vegetarian restaurant. Old Cuss will always be vegetarian because my business partner is a devout vegetarian. I am I'm pretty darn close to being a vegetarian. Probably like steps away from just being a vegetarian for good, because I just love the environment too much to buy the meat that restaurants, because it's also like restaurants can't afford to buy small batch local meat half the time.
Oh, it's so expensive.
And so it's like one of those things, like as a restaurant, I'm just like, if I can't buy the highest quality, like local stuff, like I'm not going to do this. But also like, I don't know, like I saw a cow truck the other day, and like, I'm not like a super sentimental person or anything like that, but I saw this cow truck drive by, and I was just like, this literally, we're in traffic, and I could see this little baby cow like look across me, and I'm like, oh, holy shit. And like, I can't get it. I can't get it out of my head. And I like hamburgers personally. And like, I don't know if I can eat, I don't know if I can do this. I can't get this cow's face out of my head. Cause I'm just like, and like one of the little boys that I get to be around, he's 6, and he goes, that cow looks sad. And I was like, yeah, he is. So like, yeah, you know, like not to bring it down,
right.
But yeah, like I think like we just like from the trailer into the brick and mortar, it was like a lot of like quick moves. It was a lot of big changes. Like my original business partner like parted ways, and like he's a full-time artist, so he went to do that. And then my chef at the time like ended up buying into the business, and it's just been this like constant flow. And now, like 2025, we're going to be opening up our new brick and mortar that's double the size. Like we're tripling the size of our market. Like our market's the size of our entire location. So we're going to have like huge vintage market. We're going to add dinner. We're going to add table service for dinner. Simultaneously, we've had a new business partner came in and is bringing a trailer. We're opening a trailer again.
Good. Back to the
old. But that's just kind of how I think that's just how I move. Is I move fast, and like I think I mentioned like before you're recording, like I've been like already thinking about, okay, like I want another Old Cuss. Like I do want to have a second one, because people keep asking, well, why aren't you like keeping the second one? And I'm just like, because I want to make sure I'm doing one like top tier, and I also want to make sure I'm really intentional about where we put the second one. But I'm already like thinking about like neighborhoods that we could put another Old Cuss in that's just a coffee shop and doing coffee and pastries and pies. And like like I'm already thinking about that, and we haven't even opened up our, our new restaurant, and like I'm already thinking about like where are we gonna park the trailer, where are we gonna do it. Like I've been talking to a grocery store that's opening up in 2025 that I really, really want to park outside of this like local grocery chain that's opening. And I was like, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And like I'm already thinking about those things, and that's why Old Cuss like went from nothing to trailer to rec to like me being a server to like within the same year as the rec, I opened up the shop, and then we went vegan, and then we went vegetarian, and like, because I just like, I can't stop. I can't slow down.
Yeah.
I just want to go.
And that's such like a great way to go about it too. Cause I mean, if you would have had all the recs happen, insurance stuff, I'd be like, poor me, this sucks. I don't know. Is this a sign? Like you could overthink it really easily and be like, whatever, I'm out of here. I'm going back to Kansas City. I'm going to go somewhere else. But to just be like, you know what? No. We got to keep going. Like keep moving. We're going to sign this space. We're going to open this place. We're going to get another lease after this is over. And to keep moving, I think is something admirable, especially when in face of so much adversity and so much is going on. I mean, so many bodily injuries. I mean, everything in between. And so it's admirable that you kept putting your head down and keep going, because again, like it's your thing, it's what you want to do. And it's also fun to see how, I mean, every time you're like, oh, I'm kind of bored, like, okay, cool, let's do this, or like, let's do that, and kind of iterate on kind of what works and what doesn't. Because you could also have been like, oh, cool, we're vegan, now we're going to vegetarian, you get all of this hate mail, negative comments, and you could have easily been like, never mind, flip-flop back, be like, no, I think I believe in this one, and see if everything continue to grow.
We also like still believe in the vegan, like as I mentioned, like passion flower. I love passion flower. Like I still believe in the vegan community, and some of our most loyal regulars are like 20-year vegans, and they're like the best. And like some of the vegans that got really mad at us have came back in and are continuing. And like I think there's a lot of emotion tied into going from vegan to vegetarian. It was a really hard decision for us to make, but I'm like, I just want to be open. But when we went vegetarian, we actually added more vegan items, and like we will always right now, like every item on our menu can, without any upcharge, is made vegan by default. And like we don't charge extra for milk. We don't do that because like I still have like such a big spot in my heart for the vegan community, because like it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And like I think it's like really admirable that like somebody would go, hey, like I know plenty of vegans that are like, I don't hate meat. I just like I feel like morally, like I personally can't do this. And I just go, well, you know what? Like I want to like support that. But I also like, I think there's like so much power in like omnivores. Like I would say like 70% of our customers are omnivores, but they come because they're just like, yeah, like we don't care if it has meat. We just want it to taste good.
Yeah.
Like we don't care if it has dairy. We just want it to taste good. And like I personally, like I think our like vegan breakfast sandwich, like I think our breakfast sandwiches in general are great, but I'm allergic to eggs. So I always eat our like Dagwood, which is our main breakfast sandwich. It's the first item I made, like I created when I was a chef. And like I eat that vegan every time because I don't really do dairy because it doesn't agree with me. And I don't eat eggs because people are like, oh, did you add eggs because you eat eggs? I go, no, like they like put me in a hospital.
Yeah.
Like
not a fan.
I've also never had our avocado toast because I'm allergic to avocados. I hear our avocado toast is like one of the best in the city. Like people are always like, this avocado toast is insane. And like Chandler is insane. And we also use another local, like we use a local bread company, Mims, and Mims is insane. So I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. It's great, but I've never had it. I've never even taken a bite of our avocado toast. I've never had our Dagwood sandwich. Our number one sandwich is the Dagwood. And like we sell way more vegetarian, like local eggs than we do like our vegan stuff. But I've never had our top selling items because I don't eat eggs.
Yeah.
But like, my business partner is like, yeah,
he's like,
we're delicious.
Doing great.
And I think that's the thing. It's like, I think like, I think a lot of people, and I watched like in the comments when we did it, and I had to shut off the comments when we did the change, but like people were like, oh, like you must be like so like mad. And I'm just like, no, like people have their standards, and like, it upset people. And like, I never want to upset anybody. And that's why I'm like going to do 20-ounce cups, because I don't want to upset people. I just want to like, and like, I think if anything, like I see the people who have stuck around and the people who have come back that are vegan, and I just have such a way bigger heart. And like, it did hurt. Like I take my business so personally that like it hurt a lot. And like just yesterday, like I was having a conversation with my girlfriend, like one of the people that sent me like some of the meanest, like it was just mean. It was just like you're a horrible person. Like there's a special place in hell for you. And I was like, like one of those people like posted something that was really positive. And like, I had to like check myself and go, okay, like they were mad, but like, they're not like I just love them. And like just realizing it's just like, everybody has their things and we're going to get mad at each other. But like in the end, it's like, just matters. Like, what's my heart? Like if I was like, actually like, if I let my heart get the best of me, like we wouldn't be vegan, but I just love vegans. Like they're just the best. Like they really are. They're like, and like, if you can like I think there's like a hard shell because like, you know, like there was so much intensity with veganism, and this year there's been some really intense stuff, but like it's a beautiful thing. So I don't mean to go on a rant about it. I mean, I apologize. I'm a ranter, hey, but I just, I did a different podcast and like I had to like stop because like somebody was like saying something negative. Like, whoa.
Like, chill.
Those are like a big portion of my customers. Like, let's not like talk negative.
Exactly.
Because like, I'm just like, nah, like these people freaking, like, they're just, I love our customers. I love our customers. I love like the fact that like somebody would, like one of my regulars has been a vegan since the day she was born, or since the day they were born, apologies, since the day they were born. And they come in and like, they come in like multiple times a week. And like, I've played D&D with them and like they're like such a kind, special human being. And it was like, yeah, like they would have never came in if we weren't vegan.
Totally.
And like, I just love it. And like this week I had one of our vegan regulars like tell me about like why he went vegan, and that he was literally like bedridden, couldn't get out of bed because like he was so inflamed, and he switched to a vegan diet. And his arthritis completely reversed. He was on chemo for his arthritis. Wow. And he got off chemo. And like now he's like, I literally like take a tiny pill to like make sure. But he goes, I forget I have arthritis because of this. And he goes, when I found out that you guys like had a default vegan menu, he goes, I got to pay these people's bills. Yeah. That's what he told me. He goes, I was like, I got to help pay these guys rent. So he comes in like 4 times a week. And I'm like, that heart, that is why I'm in business.
That is those people.
That is why like all these small businesses that you talk to are in business, is for people that go like, I got to pay that person's bills. Yeah. And like, I don't know. This week's especially been a week where I've been like pretty sentimental because I had this older lady ask me, she goes, so this is your dream? And I literally had to go like, oh yeah, like it's been a rough couple of months, but yeah, it is my dream.
Like, yeah, now that you put it that way,
I was like, dang, like this is my dream. So yeah, sorry.
No, I mean, it's good to live your dreams. It's good to, have a community that supports you and wants to support you, which is, the biggest, tale of like success. I get like to your point of having the holy trinity, so to speak, of good product, good ambiance, good customer service, which I would say like good people, good employees. Mm-hmm. And so as you, let's say close the doors on this, the first brick and mortar, and as you look forward to this space in Pierpont over by Caputo's, outside of 20-ounce cups, more flavors, blender. What else? Is there anything else?
If I don't do 20-ounce cups, I'm screwed because I've hammered them down.
They're like people will be coming. You're going to open up and people like, Brent, where's my 20-ounce cup?
Yeah, where's my 20-ounce?
They're on back order.
Back order. No time. Sorry.
And what do you know? When can people expect to have the new place open up?
I'm so cautious because like for the current location, we were supposed to open in July and we didn't open till December 23rd. So it's like I'm like very hesitant. But
2025.
Right now, like our current lease ends in February.
Okay.
And if we don't open in March, then me and my employees will not have any income. So March is the goal.
Cool.
And our landlords are really incredible. Like our contractor is like I genuinely like we've become close. Like I've become close because I work very intimately with my business. So I'm like, I like have so much respect for our contractor, and like even for our landlords, like they're just like, they're like very visionary. They believe in us, and I believe in what they're doing. So like, I feel like we're gonna hit really close to March.
Cool.
So I think right now, like the plan, if everything can just fall into place so we can get permits through the city, that's kind of what we're working on right now, is permitting so we can actually like get construction going and then really like, hammer it out. And I think the hope is like we'll close in February at the original, and then or at the South Salt Lake, and then we'll open back up in March.
Cool.
And that's the goal. And then trailer will open up in probably like June.
Yeah.
Like, I think
Probably a lot of work to do to get that guy already.
I mean, it's been a functioning trailer.
Oh, okay.
It's been a functioning trailer. I'm not at liberty to say which functioning trailer it is, but it's like, it's been a local, and like our new business partner has been a local business owner, and is a really, really like super fortunate, like came into our business just like a month and a half ago, and has just like yeah, like I'm really lucky. Like this year we've acquired 2 new business partners, and one of them was a customer that heard me say that I needed to raise money. And she literally like spoke up and goes, "It's weird. My headphones are dead, but I heard you need money. Can we talk?" And then like,
yes,
she wasn't like loaded or anything like that, but she was like, "I would love to like talk to you." And then like, like brought in her, and like her expertise is like managing the books, which is like my fault. For being a business owner, I am just so rough with like, I'm really good at like managing books, but I'm really bad about like remembering deadlines.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like coming in and managing our books. And then like our other business partner that bought in this year, he's more of a silent partner, but he's been in coffee for like 15 years and
Cool.
then been in the local community. And like, then my business partner, Chandler, who's like kind of the other like main person that's boots on the ground, is our chef. So I think that's like been I don't think you asked what the biggest lesson, but I think the biggest lesson is I've always been, since I was a little kid, like me against the world. I didn't feel seen as a kid. I was like, I had the big glasses, and in the 90s, like glasses meant you got your ass kicked. And it was true. And like, I was always like I was me against the world. I was very like shy and didn't want to be seen as a kid. And then like through music, I kind of like got out there. But like the biggest lesson I think I've learned, like even in the last like 6 months, is like, it is not me against the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like my business partners, like I think Old Cuss would have imploded if Chandler didn't come in as a chef and as a business partner when he did. And then my business partner, Ashley, when she came in, like we needed to get our books in order, because like it was like a summer slump, and like we were just like dead during the summer, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Ashley came in, and like she like started like figuring things out. And then like
Good.
like our more silent partner, I just don't know if I can like say his name yet,
That's okay.
because he's known and he's amazing. But like he comes in and he's got like some wisdom, and he's got like this piece about it, and it's like, oh shit, these guys aren't against me, and without them, Old Cuss wouldn't be opening at Pierpont. And like, if I thought that was me against the world, then I wouldn't have a contractor who like I want to have dinner with. Like, I love my contractor. Like, he's such a nice dude. And like, I saw his family at the Greek festival. And then like my landlords, like I love talking to my landlords. I love just like chatting with them. And like,
that's the joy of it all, is work with, like, do cool stuff with cool people at the end of the day. Cause if you're doing what you want with cool people, then nothing seems like work, and you're just hanging out with your friends, just working on fun projects.
I mean, it feels like work.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and I'm going to say this to everybody. If it's the last thing I say, work always feels like work. Owning your own business is so hard.
Yeah.
And I'm so tired. I'm always tired. I'm always tired. And no matter how much fun I'm having, I want to go like sit in front of the TV and watch, like I'm watching Cheers right now. I just want to watch Cheers. I just want to watch Frasier.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I like, everybody goes like, if you love it, it's not work. And I was like, no,
Nope, still work.
I'm just like, I want to be in the mountains. I want to be watching Frasier or Cheers, or mostly I want to be playing with like my partner's boys and like hanging out with her and them. And like Halloween was last night, and like I literally cried. It was hilarious. I was like I'm like walking through, and like she looks at me and she goes, "What's going on?" I was like, I'm like getting emotional, because like Halloween's like so beautiful. Like Halloween's like the greatest holiday ever.
Oh, I agree.
And it's not because of the dressing up. It's because it's the only holiday that you are encouraged to be neighborly. Mm-hmm. You are encouraged to go knock on your neighbor's door, and then they give you a treat. and then you're encouraged to like be imaginative as a kid and like talk to other kids and like walk by these other families, and every family's out on the street. It's so communal.
Yeah.
And I never celebrated Halloween growing up. Like my family was like anti it. So like I'm getting like, they talk about how like kids can heal your wounds. And like, I was like walking around with these like just beautiful, beautiful boys that I just like love to death. And like, I'm like, oh, like I'm like crying because I'm getting to experience this thing. And it's just, it's, so yes, I would much rather go trick or treat every day with the boys than work. But I work today and like, I did have fun. And like, I mean, right now I'm like just acting like mostly as an employee. Like I'm like working on the bar and like cooking and doing things like that. But like, it is fun, but
still work.
But when I'm off work, I'm like not thinking about it.
Good. I'm glad you can
I'm
have
trying
that
to
work.
not think about it.
Yeah, it's a battle, but
come to like when we're not open, we have concerts, and like local music is such a big thing for me. And like, if you don't know this as like a listener, like Salt Lake's local music scene is absolutely insane. Like they are so nice, but like there are kids that are 19 that are playing like some of the best music I've ever heard, and it's in every genre. There's bluegrass bands that are insane. There's jazz bands that are insane. There's hardcore bands. Like Salt Lake's music scene is insane. So like come to the concerts. Like they are always worth it. Like I've never like, not all the bands are my style, but like every time I like leave and I just go, man, those bands were good for what they're doing. And we got a crazy cool music scene. And like, so come to the concerts, and like, if you like remember to eat your vegetables, like, remember like, like at least with Old Cuss, like I always say, like we're vegetarian, vegan food for the omnivore, for the non-vegetarian or vegan. Like we create our food to just taste good, and then it just happens to be vegetarian. But like come by, like have a sandwich. Like this month we're doing an apple pie latte, which I finished today. This is November 1st. And I finished today, and it's like I made it, and I was like, oh, like this is really good. And then like we're doing our sweet potato pie latte, which is probably our most popular drink of the whole year. Like people ask for it all the time, the sweet potato pie latte, and like come get that. It's only here for November, and then it will not be back again until next November, even if you ask for it. And like that's like something like I'm kind of like hard about, is like there's sometimes I'm like, I want this drink to be permanent, but I'm like, sweet potato pie doesn't make sense in August.
Nah.
But it's really great.
It's a November drink.
Yeah, like just like, you know, keep an eye like on what we're doing. Like we're always like trying to do something fun and new, and we have new merch that just got made by this local guy, and I got the shirt today, and it's our brand new logo, and I'm in love with it. Good. We based it off of a sticker on my business partner's grandfather's construction hat.
All right.
So it was like a sticker of this like naked chick in a martini glass. And we put some clothes and a cowboy hat on her and threw her in a coffee mug.
There we go. Hey, but I'll always take the inspiration.
But it's like, I don't know, like I'm excited about what's happening. My like Chandler and I are really starting to get in a flow together where I think like Chandler and I are really starting to figure out like how we can like complement each other. Like I was hoping he was going to be here today, because like for everything I'm not, Chandler is. Chandler is calm. Chandler is collected. Chandler is thoughtful. And like just kind of like Chandler, I think takes things a little slower than I do, and I am not calm.
It's good to have that balance between the two of you.
Well, it's great, and I think again, like if anything I've learned this year, it's that like Chandler can be my like greatest ally, and like such a good balance for me if I'm not an asshole.
It's a good if to
And
have.
people always go, why is it Old Cuss? I'm like, because I'm kind of an old cuss. I'm young, but I'm also like, I'm a grumpy guy. And you don't get it from this, but like it happens. Like
Yeah,
people are like,
we all have
people
our
are like, why are you grumpy
moments.
today? I just go, a guy cut me off 3 days ago. And I'm still
still
thinking
thinking
about
about
it. I still think about it. And I was like I saw a driver and they were texting and didn't have a seatbelt on a week ago, and I'm pissed.
Yeah, still mad.
Still mad. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's all good. And Brent, if you, two questions I always ask everybody on every episode. One, if you could have someone on the Small Lake City podcast and hear more about their story and what they're up to, who would you want to hear from?
Oh man, there's so many people. I love Salt Lake, and I just love our like business owners. I think off the top of my head, I think a really important business and important person that you should talk to would be Jamaica from Hello Bulk.
Okay.
They're a container-free, like package-free bulk store, and like
Hello Bulk.
yeah, and like I just Jamaica has been like a friend and an ally of mine since I met Jamaica for the first time. I don't remember meeting her, but it was right after the motorcycle accident, and I had a neck brace on.
That makes sense. You don't remember meeting her.
Because I don't remember meeting her for the first time. We had coffee at Blue Copper, and yeah, like I love Jamaica. So I think she's so interesting. Like she's a like tried and true environmentalist, and not like an environmentalist that is like intense and like angry about it. She is like welcoming, and the whole point of Hello Bulk, I think, is to be more accessible for people and to open that door of less waste. So I would say like Hello Bulk, and then like I just think for like kind of what I was talking about earlier, like there's like some business owners that are just like kind of like staples and mainstays, but I would like reach out to Manoli.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, it's the best Greek restaurant in Salt Lake.
Manoli just opened up a new concept at 9th. That's like more of a fast casual Greek. It starts with a P. I can't remember the name, but Manoli is just like such a generous human. And every time I talk to Manoli, I just feel like I feel like he's like somebody who like just cares about Salt Lake and cares about people, and like, and he's got a cool story. And like, if I'm not incorrect about it, like his family is like Salt Lake royalty. Like,
yeah, there's a couple Greek families that
like they
run a lot of things.
From everything I understand, I think his grandfather was the founder of Crown Burger.
Yeah.
And it's just cool. And like, I want to know more about him. So I would love for you to interview him so I can listen, because he's a sweet human being and like really inspirational. But there's so many. The list is huge.
Oh yeah, I mean, even the list of people that I have at any given time, I'm like, this is too much. And like, because one of my friends asked once, he's like, well, what happens when you run out of people? I'm like, there's no way.
There's no way. And you can just expand, because Ogden has some insane business. Like Small Lake City includes, I think, the Salt Lake Valley, and I can name 3 businesses right now in Provo that I would recommend interviewing. And then like, I just was talking yesterday about Cuppa in Ogden. It's like a vegan, and again, I'm not like this like vegan like obsessed person, but Cuppa is like so good, not just for vegan food, just food. I don't know the owners. You knew the old owner, but I don't know the current.
Yep.
But Cuppa's rad. I'm like, just
I'll have to check it out next time I'm up there.
Ogden's dope, and there's some
it's
cool
coming
businesses
around.
there, and
it's fun to see it glow up, because I mean, growing up, no one went to Ogden and called it Mordor and locked your car, but now it's like, oh, there's like the Ogden Twilight series. Arguably, this year was better than Salt Lake, and so it's cool to see it coming more. But and then lastly, if people want to, check out the new the current location before you move into the new location. I mean, where's that? Where's the best place to find information on Old Cuss as well?
Yeah, so I don't update our website ever.
I don't think anybody does.
I really need to. I think we're going to start selling some like merch and stuff on there, and coffee and things like that. So I'm going to start updating the website more, but Instagram, and then because Instagram posts to Facebook, like Instagram and Facebook are like the best places to find out what's going on. I post a story almost every day that just gives a little information what's going on. We do a lot of food specials. Chandler's been working on these like insane like pumpkin cinnamon rolls, and we had them today. We're almost sold out today, but I think we're going to try to start doing them like weekly, like once a week. We're going to do these special cinnamon rolls, and like, but yeah, like Instagram's like a good place to like kind of follow us. I reply to messages on Instagram. I have not looked at messages on Facebook and I don't know how long. And like Yeah, right now we're at 2285 Main Street, right next to like Winco and Chapel Brewing. Brewing.
That's the one.
Yeah, we're in the same building as Chapel Brewing. Go in and see Tim. Tim's a really, really nice guy. It is pronounced Chapel, not Chappelle.
I've had people say
But,
Chappelle. I'm like, I don't think that's it.
But Tim's a really nice guy, and like that's honestly like one of the hardest parts about moving is we're gonna miss being around like the Beehive guys. Like those guys are the nicest, and like Tim's such a good dude, and the Salt Fire guys are great. Like I'm gonna miss like the breweries around us, but luckily like they're all gonna be downtown soon.
Yeah, everyone's moving downtown.
So yeah, come see us in South Salt Lake. We're open every day, 8 to 3. Most holidays we're open. We've been open 2 out of 3 of the Christmases since we've opened.
Still need coffee.
Yeah, like I still do it. It's if I'm in town. Like,
That makes sense.
Yeah, like if I'm in town, like I don't make my employees work, but if I'm not with family, I'm just gonna come be with my extended family and make some coffee and food. So yeah, just come see us 8 to 3 every day, and then when we move downtown in the new year, we're gonna be open like 8 to 8, 8 to 9.
Exciting.
And it's going to be great. And like, just come give us a shot. And like, I think we got some really good shit. Our coffee is roasted by my best friend in Kansas City. And he has an incredible cafe in Kansas City. And he's a really, really talented roaster and even better friend. I just went on a road trip with him last week. So it's kind of fun. Like, just come out and hang out and see us. And I'm the guy with the big dumb glasses, and Chandler's the giant that's back there in the kitchen, and then Rachel and Duncan. We just run with 4 of us right now.
Cool.
Very intimate, or 5 of us. Vivian just got back. But yeah, like everybody who's there is who's going to be our like management and leadership team at the new location. So come like get to know us and just hang out. Like Rachel sells vintage. Vivian's going to be running my market. Duncan is like a super great chef with great hair, and
it's like the only like the coffee Avengers, the Old Cuss Avengers.
Well, yeah, and like Duncan's cool. Like he's like our newest employee, and like Duncan's been like an executive chef at like multiple restaurants in Salt Lake, and some reason he decided because he believes in Chandler, and
there you go.
He decided to just come work with us, and now we have this like just killer leadership team that I think are just some of the nicest people. So come hang out and just talk to us and.
Go hang out. Go get a good latte. Great flavors. Go get this go get the sweet potato latte before it's gone.
Yeah.
But Brent,
so much.
Thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited for the new location because that's gonna be closer to me. Especially how much time I spend between my place and Edison. It's definitely gonna be the new go-to downtown. But excited for it. Hopefully in March. But if not, we'll be there when it's there.
We're gonna be there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate your time.
No, thank you.
Perfect.
Oh. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Salt Lake City Podcast. Don't forget to like, follow, review, subscribe, and share this episode with your friends. And we'll catch you next week. We'll see you there.